things. What am I doing here? I guess I'm just fooling around. Okay, so we have a cube as the basic element. What if we want to get a little more interesting and you expand the cube into rectangular prisms and get something interesting there? You can twist and turn the individual pieces and the individual rings that make up the larger ring. Our objective ultimately is to create sort of organic looking enemies for Aaaaa. So I actually do not want a cube. What I want is what we call a tendril. So I want these sort of I'm big into hentai, so I want these tentacles. So I take a tentacle, I expand it out, and I make it a little bit thinner, and I want to sort of make it fatter in certain places and narrower. If we zoom in a little bit, we can see that. And then, fat again, this tentacle should be fat at the end. I really just don't know how to use this utility. And then I'm sort of expanding it into sort of a spider leg looking thing, and I can increase the resolution and make it a little more refined looking because, oops. Come on. There we go. So, it sort of looks a little bit more organic now. Now, what happens if I replace the cube with this spider leg? Yeah, there we go. In the inner ring, it looks like this, and I can, of course, change the radius of the ring, and it sort of looks like a spider now. Let's say that I want to also transform that initial piece, tilt it differently, rotate it, translate, scale, and so forth. We're getting a Dejobaan jellyfish effect going on here. And again, if I go into the ring of rings, I'm getting really greedy here with the polygons. I can create something that is really neat and organic looking. And this took me about 5 minutes to learn, and maybe 2 or 3 minutes to actually create. We can animate, hopefully. And then that's pretty much that. I think I get even more ridiculous. I make things fatter and I don't know what I'm doing, man. Just bear with me. Oh yeah, okay, great. I'm doing that.
Do you know how much time that would have saved me in college?
Decades.
Do you know the crap I had to do in college with Maya?
What are you saying over there?
Do you know how much this would have saved me so much time in class,
Yep.
in college, on my projects?
I hate everything!
But no, thanks.
Yes, those are I don't know what those are at this point. Look, I mean, the point is that you can make a bunch of interesting, really, really high poly stuff, but, hopefully interesting, organic stuff that is going to work with Aaaaa. So, now I'm going to go back to the top. Oh, am I going to go back to the top? I don't want to fight that. How do you go back into a PowerPoint presentation without going back to the first slide?
Shift F5!
Shift F5, oops, sorry. Shift F5, give that man a cigar. I really am trying to empower artists here. I actually had somebody ask me at the Boston Postmortem last week, are you trying to obviate the need for artists? Well, no, I actually want to make every artist so powerful that he or she does not have to put up with all of the crap that we force them to these days. If you can just sit there and you can sort of have fun developing games, then your creativity is a little less hampered. Again, how am I doing for time? I have gone through 35 minutes. I could talk all day about what we and our interns are doing. We're doing a lot of creative content generation, and you guys have heard about procedural model generation, procedural content generation. I think they're doing really interesting things, but not a lot of it feeds into creativity. So we're doing things like, we're using trigonometry, we're using fractals, context-free grammars, and cellular automata. We have one of these students is running Conway's Game of Life through our level creator to actually create the level. So every vertical layer you see is an iteration of Conway's Game of Life, which I think is wonderful. There is a lot of juicy stuff, and I feel kind of bad for not going through it, but I'm gonna hand the mic off to Leo briefly. Where are we? I mean, I guess we could segue into marketing here. But yeah, so as promised, here's the picture. I don't have any children, but if I did, I would want an elephant to poop them out. How are we getting the word out? You want to take it from here?
Go rest, Ichiro. You seem tired. Alright, how do you follow that? Where are we? Okay, oh, wrong buttons. Oh my god.
You're giving away the talk. Shift F5.
Where were we? Okay, so elephant poops out a child. So how are we getting the word out? Well, in general, just like everything else, we try to do this in a remarkable fashion. What does this mean? We try to do things that people want to talk about. For example, we've relied a lot on the Boston indie community. You don't know this, but we've used you. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. No, actually, you guys have been great. So one of the reasons all the things that we have done have worked is that a lot of the people in here, I look at Darren Torpy, he's one of the people who talks about our stuff all the time. He'll retweet the things that we tweet, you know, he'll take videos of Ichiro on a panel and with other people at the Boston Postmortem and stick that up on YouTube, things like that. So this community and other communities have been great at getting the word out. We put interesting things out there and people talk about them. We don't ask people to talk about them, but they do it anyway, right, Darren?
Yes.
Excellent. Damn you, Ichiro. Marketing is not a bad word. Really, it isn't. If you try not to think about it in a traditional sense. Sorry, Scott. So we, I won't dwell on this. We've talked about this. We think about marketing throughout the process. We think about development. We're thinking of marketing, so on and so forth. But at the core, you have this. If we don't talk about it, nobody will. We aren't Pepsi. We're not going to hire Michael Jackson, set his hair on fire, do things like that. He's dead, poor guy. We can't do any of those things. And we can't rely on our mom to talk about the game. No one's going to buy it because we're nice guys. So ultimately, we have to talk about our game. And we have to do it in some remarkable way. Where did this come from? Right. Sorry, Susan. The press is normally human. This is a revolutionary thing. If you give the press interesting things to talk about, you're helping them do their job. If you give them interesting things to talk about, they will talk about you. Now, if you don't know them, it might take a little bit of effort. You might have to send someone in the press a few interesting things before they write about you. You might have to put out a game with a ridiculous name and get other people to talk about it so the press says, what is this ridiculously named game? But ultimately, if you eventually touch the press enough with enough interesting, remarkable stuff, they will talk about you. And once they talk about you, it's up to you to then stay in touch with them. Develop, build that relationship like you would any other relationship. Or almost like you would any other relationship. And do it on a regular basis. So, for example, I was looking at a LinkedIn group that talked about PR and marketing in games. These guys get it wrong all the time. They said, how do you put a press release out there? Well, pay somebody $500 and there's all these lists that will send it out to thousands and thousands of people. This might work, maybe it does work. We choose not to do it that way. We spent time and effort identifying a list of people that we think are the right people, and then we email them, we send them personal emails saying, here's what we're working on right now. We think you might be interested because you wrote this article about this other thing that is very closely related. So we take the time to write personal emails about relevant content, and some of these people respond to us and cover us. These include people at places like... Shh. Oh, sorry, people couldn't see me. I'm too short. So that's the point there. We've taken the time to connect with people, and we send them information, and then over time we build relationships such that we actually have people who know us by name. That's useful because at the end of the day we're respected about it. And then 1,000 people come to our website that day. This sometimes happens. That might those people comment, turns into a beta, so on and so forth. So, we think about the press, we think about marketing as we're working through our development process. So here's an example of something. This is the Steam forums, and there's a particular forum topic called "Way to Give Your Game a Horrible Name." This guy probably regretted the name the day he got on the Steam forums because he got slammed. This is the most popular post on Steam. About twice a week, somebody will still respond to this, and it's a year old. I'm sick of getting it in my inbox and getting the notifications that tell me that somebody else said, "No, you're wrong." But here's an example. One guy says, "My decision to purchase this." Well, actually, Ichiro likes to do this in Ichiro voice, so I'm going to hand it to him.
What's that?
What the people say is...
I second this. My first honor, actually, I don't even know what he's talking about, but he bought it, he paid me money because of the name. I'm sorry. What? I don't know.
We practiced this earlier, so you still need to. Alright. 4,500 people have looked at this, and many more have commented. This blows my mind. All it says is, way to give your game a horrible name. There's no cheat code in here, there's no special discount. That's all it says, and that's what people continue to comment on. So, an example of, connecting with the community and getting people to back us up.